Hey YouTube, this is Burlog Awesome. This is day 5 of self-isolation, day 9 since I first felt symptoms of the coronavirus, and today was the first time that I have left my room since I've tested positive. I left my room in this KN95 mask, and I wore gloves. I took the trash out from my room and put it into the normal trash bin. I went directly to my car, proceeded to the testing center, got tested, and came directly back, and then went right back into my room. And now I will know either tomorrow or the day after that whether I am negative now for the coronavirus. Again, I'm feeling absolutely no symptoms, so I'm really hoping for that negative result, although I know the test detects genetic material rather than live virus, so I'm not sure whether it will actually be negative. Today I wanted to talk about my experience with the testing and contact tracing symptoms, and how it's different from what I expected this system to be. So I'm from Palo Alto, and in Palo Alto, I got an email sent to me and my parents that said that if I or my parents wanted to get a test at any point in time, I could simply go to my local health clinic. Now that's exactly what I expected when I came to Houston. I assumed that since the cases per capita weren't nearly as high as they were in New York or, say, in Florida, I would have a similar experience. But that's actually not at all what I've experienced. When I first got symptoms on Monday, I instantly looked up the local testing center, and I noticed that people were giving out tests at Walgreens and at CVS. But when I tried to book an appointment, both at Walgreens and CVS, I noticed that they were fully booked for the day and fully booked for the day after that. So I looked up more different private clinics, and I noticed one called Signature Care ER that supposedly had same-day testing, rapid antigen testing that you could get as 15 minutes after you even came there. And they were testing everyone with symptoms, supposedly. So I went to this clinic, I went to Signature Care ER, and I asked for an appointment for a test. And they told me that they were doing walk-ins and that there was a 3-hour wait, and I could put myself on a wait list. So I did put myself on that wait list. I went back home, I waited 3 hours, and I came back and they said, oh, we actually didn't take anyone off of our wait list. We were only doing appointments. So by that point I was feeling a little bit better, and I thought maybe I wouldn't need that test. But the next day, on Tuesday, I didn't have any symptom relief and I was feeling a fever. So I went back to the testing center. I knew I had to book a test, and the earliest they could book an appointment was on Thursday. That was 2 days later. This would have been day 4 of symptoms. But there was nothing I could do, so I booked a test, and I realized that in Houston it worked very different from Palo Alto. You could not book a same-day test as I was advertised earlier. So on Thursday I did get the test and it was positive, and when I got the positive test I expected them to do their regular contact tracing. Testing had to be paired with contact tracing, but they just told me to go home. They told me to go home and self-isolate. I had to do my own contact tracing, essentially. Now for me this was not too big of a problem since I knew exactly where I've been in the last 5-10 days, and I knew exactly who I've contacted within these days. However, I expected a robust contact tracing system, and that's not what I got. I don't know whether this is the responsibility of the federal, state, or local government. However, regardless, it's not the contact tracing that we should have. So I went through my head and thought about everywhere I've been during the 7 days before I got my positive test, and I recognized all the people who I saw during that time. There was a group of 6 people who I had dinner with, a person that I've stumbled across on a walk, and of course the people who live inside my house. And I notified all of them about how I contacted them and how I got tested positive for COVID-19, and I told them to possibly self-isolate and to monitor for any symptoms that they're having and get tested if they're having any symptoms. Luckily, as far as I'm aware of, no one that I've contacted has been feeling symptoms, especially the people inside my house have not been feeling any symptoms of the coronavirus. There is one person who I've contacted, one of the 6 people that I had dinner with, who doesn't live inside my house. He's currently feeling tired. However, unknown whether that's the coronavirus, he's self-isolating as a precaution, and he will get tested. Currently, I'm inclined to believe that I did not pass on the coronavirus to anyone. However, it's impossible to tell for me. And it's especially impossible to tell knowing that there's no robust contact tracing system that would have gotten anything that I missed. For example, during the week before I got symptoms, I was going into my lab. While I notified the people inside my lab, I have no idea who I've contacted while walking across the hallways of my lab, for instance. So it's really impossible to tell exactly who I've contacted and exactly who I've possibly given the coronavirus to without a real robust contact tracing system, which is not what we have so far in America or in Texas or in Houston. I'm personally feeling optimistic because the people in my house are not feeling any symptoms. Since it's unlikely that I gave it to them, it's even more unlikely that I gave it to someone else who I've contacted for much less time than I contacted the people inside my house. Still, and it's very important to note that no one really knows how this virus works, and it could easily happen that I give it to someone else and I'm completely unaware of it. I'm left wondering whether an actual contact tracing system is even possible. I know one has been made in China, but we don't have nearly enough surveillance compared to what they have, nor should we. And I know one has been made in South Korea, but they were able to track the virus much earlier than we have. But until we have such a system or develop such a capability, I believe we're left dealing with the virus as we are right now. So that's a quick little recap of my thoughts here on day 5 of self-isolation, hoping for a negative result tomorrow, and see you then.